Good morning, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. Hope you guys are on your purpose. Hope you guys are continuing to think about conquest. Not only conquest of yourself, but conquest of everything around you, as you are the superpower. You are the person who's the masculine male that is rare in our society, my friends. Continue the journey. Don't give up. A lot of people are sending me stuff about they've released, but they're continuing to battle on, and that's the way to do it, Warriors. That's the battle cry. Continue to work on this. As a few people mentioned, and I think we'll do a video on this. I like the ideas, and I'll have to go back. I did get a chance to go back and look at all the shout-outs and things like that, and I'll kind of go through and put some on this one, and then we'll talk about this a little bit tomorrow. But there's a great analogy that we talk about here, guys. Part of this is a spiritual battle, and the battle is between you and conquesting you and Satan, who wants to take over you. That's the battle. Now, you can battle other people, obviously. You can battle vampires, energy suckers, all these other things, zombies walking around that are going to take your energy away in different ways, emotionally, physically. But really, in the long run, Warriors, it comes down to your battle with the evil one. Each one of us has this battle. And some things look good, but are tempting, and they send you down the wrong path. Other things are good and God's purposes. And so as we look at this whole idea, remember, this is a battle. So this brings me to the topic we're going to talk about in this one. I'm going to shout out to Fresh Start. Shout out to you, my friend. A good topic here. He talked about the fact in one of his messages, don't allow other things to lead you into temptation. And we're going to talk about that now. So as I just mentioned, Warriors, the key thing to worry about and concern yourself with, not the things around you necessarily, even though people can act in behalf of the evil one, and they can act, being possessed and taken over, and act in a way where it becomes tempting. But the thing about it, my friend, is the battle is within you first. You can't control the outside unless you control the inside. And that's the key to this whole thing. So it comes down to a spiritual type of thought pattern, a working with God, to praying to God, to staying with God, and to avoid getting things to lead you in temptation. We're all guilty of it. No one is above this guilt, because we all have things that have tempted us in one form or another. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we become tempted to the point where we're now going down the wrong path. We always adjust. And the more that you're in this journey, the more you're with the Lord, the less tempting it's going to be. And eventually, in my mind, the utopia, the warrior that is the ultimate warrior, and that used to be a wrestler, I think, a long time ago. The ultimate warrior is the one that has no temptation at all, and that's Jesus Christ. Now, we may never get there. Chances are we will never get there. But you can continue to keep moving towards that goal. And so when temptation hits you or around you, it's time to kind of push it away, run away, whatever you got to do to get away from it. Get away from it until you can handle it better. So the comment is, do not allow other things, people or things, pictures, those things, to lead you in temptation. So what we got to do, Warriors, we have to continue to be on our purpose. A man is on his purpose, doesn't very, very rarely get sidetracked. And you got to keep on purpose. But if you're bored, if you don't have goals, if you don't have things, you're a lot more vulnerable to those times. Remember, it's times when you're relaxing, times when you're letting yourself down. That's the time temptation can come into play. This is why you should watch out in the middle of the night. You should watch out late at night when you're tired. Those things kind of hit you before you know it. And all of a sudden, now you're releasing again. Try to continue to get a regimen where you're focusing on your goals and your plans. You're not allowing other things to lead you down that wrong path, because that's where you start getting yourself in trouble. That's where I got myself in trouble. So I speak from a lot of experience with this over time. And the main thing is to do not allow other things, as Fresh Start's talking about here. Do not let other things lead you in temptation. So what do you got to do? Well, you have to make sure, first of all, as we talked about, you have your goals. You have your purpose. You know, these are the things I'm doing from a day-to-day basis. So during my day, I have it set up, whether I'm working, whether you might be going to school, whether you're focusing on things outside of your home. This is important. You should have a daily type of thing. And you may have to be extreme to begin with. You may have to count for every hour of your day at the beginning of this journey, because that's the only way you're going to break the habit of getting bored and all of a sudden going to those pictures, or finding that woman that you want to sleep with, and all of a sudden you're releasing again. That's the whole thing. Now, I'm not talking about your wife. I'm not talking about that. I know people have asked me about that. We'll talk about marriage and semen retention on another one of these videos. But the idea, guys, is you want to avoid have one night stands where you're releasing all the time, looking at pictures all day long, releasing, becoming less of the man and less of the warrior that you should be. And as Fresh Stars talks about, the key to this thing is prevention. Prevention. Just like we talked about the video apps, and I think Herb Street 888 signified in one of his latest messages. Prevention is the key, and he's all right about that. Prevention. You need to step up ahead of time before it gets too late. It's much harder when you're in the process of getting close to releasing or edging, and then you can't stop yourself. And that's when you start releasing, and all of a sudden now you got to start the pattern again. But prevention is the key thing. If you see yourself heading in that direction, find something else to do. Get up, exercise, walk, do whatever you have to do. Find some hobbies, something to work on. Get your mind away from that temptation that's drawing you in. And it looks pleasurable. I understand that. But the thing is, warrior, it's going to destroy you. It's destroyed many, many warriors before. And you don't want to be one of those warriors. We need every single warrior here on the fight, because we are only the 1% right now. There's many people who have no idea what we're talking about, never heard of celibacy, never heard of brahmacharya, sophism. We have lots of people out there that have not been taught about this stuff over the last 30, 40, 50 years. For what reason, I'm not sure. A lot of them think it's abnormal. A lot of them think it's crazy that you even think about not having sex or intercourse with somebody ahead of time before you get married or anything like that. In fact, it's 50% of people don't even get married anymore. So now you don't even have a marriage situation where, because of the law systems and a lot of things that people are afraid of, now you're just sleeping with anybody you want to, anytime you want to. And there's no more restrictions people even have. Even though every time you sleep with somebody, it costs you something. It might cost your soul. It might cost some of your energy, but it's costing you something. So the idea, guys, is that you want to stay away from that temptation. And guys, it's not that difficult if you are on a plan, on a goals. This is why I keep referring to these goals, because the idea is keeping your mind away. The mind cannot work on two things at the same time simultaneously. You cannot think about releasing and thinking about achieving your goal at the same time. You focus and transmute that energy with lots of methods we've talked about. Transmute that energy into something that's going to replace and use that energy for a good purpose, instead of something that's just going to release and it'll be sitting on the bed sheet or somewhere else in somebody's body and not accomplishing anything. You're not procreating, you want to have a child, all of a sudden it's out there and it's gone. And even though we sit there in a society that says this is a normal activity, you look at the Bible, you look at history, past history, this is not a normal behavior. This is actually a destructive behavior to continue to release over and over and over again. All you're doing is draining yourself to the point where you have no masculinity left. And obviously it's easy for people to take you over, other people over at that point in time, and you're they're defenseless to fight anybody because you have none of that energy left, none of that vitality, none of that strength. All right, my friends. Well, great comment from Fresh Start. I like that one a lot. Tomorrow, I think we're going to cover another good one. Optical Man and Informational Channel talked about aging backwards, diet, and semen retention. We'll talk about that one tomorrow. Anyway, do not let other things or people lead you into temptation. And put your armor up. It's almost like the armor, and we'll talk about that one. It was a good comment someone made recently too. The armor of semen retention is on top of you, warriors. You cannot let something get inside of that and play with you enough to get you into that temptation mode. All right, my friends. Again, have a good day today. Enjoy yourselves. Continue to keep battling and conquesting on. Remember, every day is a new day to a great warrior. And the biggest thing you got to do is battle on!